Blake sent us the first tweet or text or something that went out that was clearly a leak from the Cowboys side. Let me even look at Blake's text.
Well, I don't think Blake's text was that clear, to be honest, because I was confused. Clarence's tweet, which I think is what Blake was referencing, was just that they had offered him a number that would make him the highest paid kicker.
Yes, Clarence Hill tweeted, the Cowboys offered to make Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in the NFL last September. Ooh, last September. That's probably of note here.
You'd have to go back and look.
No. This is his current tweet. He is saying the Cowboys offered him last September, surpassing the $6.4 million annual salary of Harrison Butker. Per source, the Cowboys did not offer Aubrey $7.5 million or even $7 million, but it was more than Butker. Per source, Aubrey's agent, Todd France, countered with $10 million annual offer and shut down negotiations until getting on the bus at the Combine on Wednesday. The Cowboys don't plan to up their offer, are comfortable placing the second-round tender on him, which could result in a restricted free agent deal of $5.5 to $5.8 million, and take their chances on getting a second-round pick if he signs elsewhere. Stay tuned. So, yeah, that is the Cowboys putting out they're putting out their sources are not – I don't know why they don't just throw their name on it. I don't know why Stephen Jones can't say – just say it's Stephen Jones said this. Because it's Stephen Jones saying this.
Yeah, it's very, very obvious. Like, who else would it be?
And
you either know it's the team or the agent, and when it's the team,
it's a very Stephen Jones thing to say, well, we offered him that last year, and they didn't want that.
That, to me, is one of the biggest differences between Stephen and Jerry. I feel like Jerry will just say it. But I remember back when my brother was working with the agent of Dalton Schultz, and that went super sideways, if you remember. And they had a lot of complaints about it. Just people have complaints about dealing with Stephen. Now, I guess every player is going to have complaints about dealing with management. But, you know, it's not like he worked his way up through the league either, you know. He may have a unique way of dealing with people relative to other NFL GMs.
Yeah, it's a funny game they are able to play, the Cowboys, with the power of the star and what the Cowboys mean. But Jerry can always kind of be the good guy. He's the good guy. He comes in at the end. I'll get DeMarcus Lawrence signed, and then he does.
Yeah.
Or I'll get Micah. Well, that doesn't always work. But the point here is that, and that's what when I texted back to you guys, and so it begins, because this is the game. I don't know if this is the game with every NFL franchise. It may be.
Yep.
But I know it's the game with the Cowboys.
This is
we've
like
seen it over and over and over again.
It's an initiation. It's like Succession. Bore on the floor.
Let's even go back to
they walk around in the social media for a few days of us floating insane numbers, and then, by the way, I put a video in there from his agent's Instagram, so you guys can see it if you want. But his agent, who is Todd France of CAA, Dak's agent, you know, Brandon and Dak are business close, at least seem like they're close, so they share an agent. Todd France posted a video of himself walking up to the Cowboys bus with Started From the Bottom by Drake playing and a caption that it says, let's see if I can read it to you.
Todd France did?
Yeah, the NFL Combine, where misinformation spreads like wildfire. Looking forward to my meeting with the Cowboys on the bus. # Aubrey, and then like the face. And then it's got like the rap music playing as he's walking up to the bus. Like I love it. Like he's a gladiator or a wrestler.
Yes.
Really.
Well, that's part of this. Todd France.
He's whacked their pee before.
Well, no, yeah, but he's in this for Brandon Aubrey, but he's also in this for Todd France because he wants other potential, clients to say, boy, I want the guy that gets the highest contract at every position.
Dude, think of it like this. It's proportional.
Yeah.
This difference between 6 and 8 for him is like the difference between getting 30 or 40 for a quarterback or a receiver or something. They want, he's getting his percent of that. So,
well, also,
I'm not surprised this is going like this.
let me explain something else that is part of the Cowboys
Way
game,
it is.
which we also dealt with. Part of our game is that they will focus on one thing, and they know that you will latch on to that. And then, very surprisingly, some of our coworkers also latched onto that and said, "Hey, they said the money was right. So what's the holdup? Let's go. We're all friends here, right? Let's keep the team together. The money's right. All right, yeah, but they threw in things that were not in the last contract,
which in theory have monetary value to be bargained.
Right? And
So
then they
if
said,
you
"Well, there's
are
no bargaining.
Taking something
We
away,
will not even talk about that at all."
you would be paid more. Yeah.
Well, wait, no. Okay, so like this one part of this whole deal is right. But that would be like saying, but they offered a 6-month deal. But the money's right. Okay, that's what we don't know. All you know is, at least from the Cowboys' perspective, they offered him to be the highest paid kicker in the NFL. And they turned it down.
Oh,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
What don't
Get
you know?
lost, buddy.
Okay, Harrison Butker makes $6.4 million. I believe it's a 4-year deal, and I believe that $17 million is guaranteed. And then the headline story, and it's everywhere. Cowboys offer highest paid kicker in NFL. Agent counters $10 million a year. Right there, you're like, I don't want that greedy kicker.
Right.
I don't want to. Let's trade him. Let's get rid of him, whatever. Okay, let's just play that scenario out. All right, let's say they offered 6.5 annual value. That would be the highest paid in the NFL, with $12 million guaranteed. So if he gets hurt, he's only going to see $12 million of that. Let's go. And the agent, this is me just pretending what might have happened. I have not talked to anybody involved here. All right, look, Stephen, this is silly. You know he makes an annual. He's getting 17 guaranteed. If that's your first offer to us, then my first offer is $10 million a year. All right, what are we gonna? Are we? And then Stephen's like, yeah, all right. And then they talk later. Or we'll talk next year because there's no reason Stephen Jones would have actually wanted him to sign a contract at the beginning of last year, right? Knowing they had him on that sweet deal, knowing they have a restricted hammer.
Knowing he wasn't going to blow up like a wide receiver or something that was going to. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why, if that were the case, why Stephen would want that to get out there. That feels like the scenario you just described was a non-serious negotiation or a piece
They
of
want to get out there because of what you see in headlines today.
Okay, well,
Cowboys
that feels,
offered record contract, agent countered with $10 million.
I guess we're
now the agent is denying that. Brandon's wife is denying it.
So did Brandon. They both commented on Instagram, so I feel comfortable. They just both said false to like a Dallas, Texas TV story, but it's very interesting to know somebody who's going through this and see the way that it works, who has control over the narrative, what gets printed. I will say, you may have been out of town when this happened, but when we were going through mediation with the lawyers and all that, Frank is here, right?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
If Frank is still here, we should.
Yeah, he's over there.
Well, then he probably remembers this.
He's enjoying Kanye Roast.
We were in mediation,
pizza.
which is where you're on two sides of the hall of a room, and the guy goes back and forth and tells you what each person wants and doesn't want. And we were, again, kind of the little guy. So I always felt like we need to kind of play along here a little bit. We're not going to get everything they want. Their first offer they sent over was it was like, stop doing the show. It was like, you stop doing the show for 6 months. It might have been a year. It was crazy, like the level of onerous stipulations that they put on it. You can't have the name. You can't have this. You can't do the. It was everything. And they sent that back to us. And I thought the obvious thing to do was to talk sensibly and be like, well, here's kind of what we'd accept and move from there. And instead, Philip wrote them like a fuck you.
Right.
And wrote
way
like,
over the
how
top.
about you pay us for the lawyer fees that we've already accrued. You pay us for it was insane, dude. And I remember at the time being like, we should not do this.
This is nuts.
And we turned it in, and the guy, he was very stoic, the mediator, like came back and did like the pushed his glasses up and kind of took them off thing and was like, they're not thrilled. They're not thrilled with your position. Like
They started it.
So I would say if Brandon's agent replied like, fuck you, 10 million, I, from a personal standpoint, I would not approach things like that. Because then what can happen? Steven can turn around and be like, they're being assholes. You don't want that, so why even say it?
But that's why Brandon's not actually doing it. The agent is doing it, and Brandon's just like, all right, do the best you can.
And the agent has W's on his side.
That's true.
And the agent knows how this shit works.
Yeah.
The other thing, which is this is a dork point, but the cap goes up like what, 10 to 12% or 15% a year every year? Your contract should be viewed as a percentage of the cap. So even if he's going to make $7 million and Butker makes 6.5, if it's out of us, am I crazy here? Why don't they talk about it like that? He wants to be paid commensurate to the cap. So he may get 7, and they're like, oh, you're the highest paid, but still be underpaid relative to the cap. Anyways.
Well, and then
the good news is he didn't pay $15,000 for that goddamn piece of HVAC equipment.
oh my God,
Could have sunk the whole season.
yeah, he probably would have just signed whatever they put in front.
Might
of
have
him.
had to go back to computer work.